Hello, BookTube. It's Wednesday, and that means New Comic Book Day, when I would ordinarily put on pants and go to my local comic shop and elbow my way past the legions of slightly unsocialized giant man babies in order to look at the new issue comic books and maybe buy a new graphic novel. But I didn't do either. I didn't do that today because the two things that would have been of interest to me, judging by the list that I looked at online ahead of time, uh, weren't enough to get me to the shop. Weren't enough. I have a lot of writing to do, and I have a little puppy that I adore. And besides, I got an electronic copy of one of them, and I already had the other one. So there really wasn't much I could do to justify going out. The one that I got an electronic copy of, I don't unfortunately have anything to show you here. It's the first issue of a new relaunch of the Justice League. With beautiful, beautiful artwork by Jim Chung. And the Justice League reboots every few years now, and when new creative teams come on, they tend to bring it to issue number 1. I don't agree with that. I don't think that should be true. The Justice League should be on, like, issue 1,000 or whatever. But it isn't, and it's become a rite of passage now for new writers on the Justice League to create a new roster, maybe add new wrinkles here and there. And for all I know, a lot of that was done in this issue as well. I don't know, because the issue gave me the strong impression that it was a more or less direct follow-up to two large ongoing miniseries events in DC that I was not following. So I don't know what's original to this and what isn't. But there were a couple of changes I noticed right away. First change that we see right off the bat is that the Justice League has a gigantic headquarters, the Hall of Justice, that it appears to be an office building. It had the gigantic illustration that Jim Chung offers right at the beginning has people going and coming with briefcases and kids playing outside. It doesn't seem like the sort of place that a super team would have a headquarters that could be attacked at any moment by super villains. But we'll see how the idea pans out. Like I said, the last time I checked in on the Justice League, they had a satellite headquarters. So this might be an invention from one of those miniseries. I don't know. And the other big thing that you notice in any kind of Justice League number 1, the first thing you go for is, what's the lineup? What's the team lineup? And I really like this lineup. It's Superman, Batman, and Wonder Woman, of course, and the Flash, and Aquaman. It's the John Stewart Green Lantern. And Hawkgirl is a member as well, and also the Martian Manhunter. And the presence of the Martian Manhunter, Hawkgirl, and the John Stewart Green Lantern, I can't help but think, seeing them all together in one issue, that's got to be a nod towards the great cartoon of the Justice League that I loved so much. I remember watching the first episode when it premiered, and my heart was in my throat because I was thinking, there's so many ways this could be done wrong, and instead it was done fantastic, and it just got better from there. So I like that. I like that as a choice very much. I love the new lineup. Also, Cyborg is a member as well, and I like that as well. I've liked the upgrade of Cyborg to the big leagues of superheroes instead of staying with the Teen Titans. But the rest of the storyline was very much paced for the graphic novel that this will become. So I'm glad I got an electronic issue. It's not taking up any space. I can just delete it. And I won't buy any of the other issues because I will certainly get the graphic novel. It's clear that they're writing for that. Virtually nothing comprehensible happens in this first issue. And that would only be true if you were building a 6-issue arc. So it's not like this is to be concluded in the next issue. No. It's just going to keep going on and going on and going on. I liked it very much. I like I've mentioned in previous comic book videos, I buy comic books for the artwork, and this artist can do no wrong. So I will look forward to that graphic novel. It'll come out in a hardcover probably in a year, but I won't buy any more of the issues, even though this was really good. And I didn't get any other single issues. The only other thing that would have been of interest to me in the comic shop today, had I gone, would have been a paperback reprint of two writers, Dan Abnett and Andy Lanning, had a long run on My Beloved Legion of Superheroes. They did a lot of really good work on Legion of Superheroes, and DC is bringing out their run volume by volume until they cover the whole thing. And the volume that's out now in paperback is a 12-issue series they did set inside the Legion continuity called Legion Lost, with fantastic artwork by Oliver Coipel, just incredible artwork, in which a large chunk of the Legion of Superheroes, this 30th century team of teenage superheroes falls through some sort of space continuity wormhole and ends up in the far away, in a galaxy far away, and disjointed in time as well, and just facing this nightmarish dystopian galaxy that seems to be hostile everywhere they turn. And they have adventures, but there is they have discrete individual adventures in that lost section of the universe, including including just briefly and not quite legitimately a face-off with the Justice League, which just was music to me, because I'm of course of the opinion that the Legion of Superheroes at full strength would mop the floor with any other super team. That I think goes without saying. And in fact, one of the challenges of writing a good Legion story is how do you make any opposition noteworthy to a team like that? And this is one of the ways you do it. This is actually a time-honored way that Legion writers have done it. Split the team up. Give us a little bunch of characters instead of the whole thing. And it's wonderful. There are little story arcs, inside the 12 issues, but there's also a larger arc where they are gradually getting closer and closer to figuring out who the evil being is who runs this area of space. And it's a horrible revelation when it happens. Just hits you in the gut. And the revelation is horrible to the Legionnaires, and the method, the one thing they have to do to make sure that evil doesn't triumph, is also horrible. And the Andy Lanning and Dan Abnett and Oliver Coipel bring it off beautifully. This is Legion Lost. And the reason I didn't get the paperback is because I have the hardcover. It came out in hardcover a while ago. Because I think it was recognized even when it was happening as a classic Legion arc. So I didn't need to get a paperback with a number 2 on the spine or anything like that. I have this. So I took the occasion to reread it for Comic Book Day. But I won't. Even I am not Legion purist enough to go out and buy an extra copy of something I don't need just out of loyalty. So there wasn't much in the way of comics for me this week. One new issue that I didn't even buy of the new launch of the Justice League, which I liked, but nothing really happened in this issue. I mean, a major DC villain dies, but I don't believe that's permanent for even a minute, especially given the villain. I'll only make sense when I read the whole thing, and I will read the whole thing, and I'll report back when I do. And the other thing, I left everything else there. Man of Steel number 2 was there, but like I said last time, I'm not going to bother with it, because again, I'm going to get the graphic novel, so there's no reason for me to buy the issues and then buy the whole thing over again. And none of the other individual issues that I saw listed appealed to me in the slightest. So it's slim pickings for Comic Book Wednesday this week, but next week, who knows? We could be back in business. I will certainly be back with more comic dispatches then. But in the meantime, I'll wrap this up, and I'll see you soon. Thank you, BookTube.